Hi everybody, Glenn Hausman here for heretostay.tv, powered by Bridge Street. We're at the Corporate Housing Providers Association annual meeting in San Juan, Puerto Rico. And I'm with Brian David Johnson, a futurist. Now, Brian, I got to tell you, I love the idea of being a futurist because I feel like I could just make stuff up that's going to happen in 20 years and then nobody's going to call me out on it. I have a feeling you're not running the same scam.
I am not like that. So I am very much a pragmatic futurist.
Right.
So I look 10 years out into the future, model both positive and negative, what's good and what's bad, and then work with organizations to move toward that. So I don't make predictions. It's my job to enable organizations to build a better future.
Fascinating. So you're working with CHPA in this regard. So how does that scenario play out so people understand what your role is and how it affects change within our business?
So when CHPA brought me in, they knew that the industry was changing.
Right.
And so they brought me in as a futurist. We've been working together for about 2 years now. And so what I'm doing is modeling how is the industry going to change? And then in the backcast, I actually say, well, what should the organization do? What should member companies do? What should businesses do today to prepare for that tomorrow?
All right, so now we're going to get to the brass tacks because I've been making a lot of predictions about where this industry is going to go. I'd like to hear your thoughts on it, and then we'll see if I was right.
So we know that we're having sort of tectonic level, deep shifts in technology. We know with artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things, with autonomy just on the horizon, is going to be a big shift.
What do you mean by autonomy?
So autonomy in land, sea, and air. So not just driverless cars, but also
I get it.
But also autonomy in digital autonomy. So that's artificial intelligence being able to go off and do work for you. And then the other part is we're seeing a shift in demographics. So the millennials are here, they're among us. We have to stop talking about millennials and start talking to them.
Well, all these millennials are nearly 40 years old. Enough with how young they are.
I know, and now we have Gen Z coming in.
That's right.
And so all this is important because in about 10 years, Gen Z and millennials will make up 75% of the global workforce. So they are our employees, but they're also going to be our customers and our clients. And there's a shift in that. They're very comfortable with technology. They're very comfortable with using that. So that's going to also change how the industry operates. And the final thing is corporations are changing.
Right.
The cost of doing business keeps going down. You have millennials in there who are now running those companies. How they run are not like 20th century different organizations. They're running like 21st century operations.
That's so many things to, I'll use that old cliche, unpack there, right? But I really think because we're shifting with technology, we've left a world of us older digital nomads to which will be purely, digital, now I'm totally forgetting the name. Natives, that's it. Thank you, futurist. I really appreciate that. So yeah, I mean, you look at Generation Z, the oldest ones of them are already in college. So the shifting is already taking place whether or not you even realize that. So when you're working with CHPA here, what are some of the things that you're trying to get them now to think about specifically? I get autonomy, all of those other kind of things, but what can they do in the real world to better connect with their end user customers through your prism?
So everything we do goes into a podcast, goes onto their website, and so we model these futures, but then we also say, what are 3 things you could do? What are 3 things you could do today to start preparing for that future? So a great example, like with the millennials and the Gen Z, I say, well, talk to them. What can you do? Bring them in and not only talk to them, but enable them. Because ultimately they're going to be your workforce. When it comes to artificial intelligence, people are now really comfortable with data. I say people are pretty data savvy in this industry. I say people should be AI curious.
Right.
So go out there and start talking to people about it. Don't make huge leaps yet, but start talking to your colleagues to understand what they're doing because you should really judge it by the ROI. So we continue to do that. We try to find really specific things that you could do inside the industry to get ready for that future, but to keep an eye on business.
One of the things that I find is that if you're uncomfortable with something, and people are always uncomfortable with change, especially when it comes to technology, how do you get them to not fear the future, but to embrace that change and let it happen in a meaningful way to them?
And that's really my job as a futurist, right? My job, and
cool. I'm glad I answered that question.
Yeah, it was very perceptive. So I'm an optimist, right? And I'm an optimist because I choose to be one.
Right.
Because I believe that the future is built by people. So you should be an optimist because let's get together and build a future that's awesome. Let's not build a future that sucks.
Right. So Star Trek versus Terminator.
Exactly. And so in that, my message to CHPA, my message to the industry is, look, we know these things are coming. They are unstoppable. This is where we're moving. So let's get together as an industry, as companies, as corporations, and say, all right, what is the future we want? What do we want the industry to look like? And then start making very pragmatic steps today and communicate with each other to move towards that future.
Fascinating. So the future is exciting, it's bright, and don't be scared of the inevitable change that is coming. Great stuff. I want to follow up with this guy on a podcast coming soon to Here to Stay TV. So for Brian and myself, thanks so much for watching Here to Stay TV.